Turn of events, a Korean War veteran will be reunited with a missing war relic.
The sword he acquired during the Korean War was lost nearly 40 years ago. Fox News reporter Will Robinson Smith spoke with the retired naval commander and the person who found the sword. He's joining us live now in the studio. Will?
Yeah, that's right, Bob and Lenise. And when I was talking with Chip Harrington, who found that sword, he said getting to share in the joy of retired Commander Roy Johnson was nothing short of a priceless experience.
Fantastic.
It's not unusual to find old swords in a pawn shop. Some, of course, are nicer than others. But what caught Chip Harrington's eye is that this one used to belong to a naval officer.
They are a ceremonial item that is pretty much, valued by the owners. And they're typically identified with the name engraved on the blade.
In this case, that name was Roy M. Johnson. After a few weeks of researching who Johnson might have been, Harrington realized he was still alive and living in Pennsylvania. So he gave him a call.
I said, I've got what may seem like a strange question for you, but are you missing a sword? And he didn't say anything for a long time.
My first reaction was, well, what kind of a scam is this? Let's listen to it. And the further we went, the more convinced I was that it was a legit call.
But he finally said, yeah, I am missing a sword, but it was stolen from me about 40 years ago.
Johnson was a naval lieutenant at the time, flying combat missions during the Korean War. He served for 21 years with the Navy, and the sword was a valuable memento for him.
This is a symbol of honor and courage that he earned, and he earned it a long time ago. And he had it throughout his career, and then someone stole it from him. It was just a great pleasure to be able to connect it back with its owner.
Johnson used to fly a Douglas Skyraider similar to this one during the Korean War, and part of Harrington's plan upon returning the sword is to show him this one.
And I asked him if he'd like to come see our airplane, and he said he would. So I'm going to make arrangements for him to make a trip down to Mobile, Alabama, and if things go the way I want them to go, I'm going to present this sword to him in person.
Both Johnson and Harrington say the phone call that connected them is something neither of them will ever forget.
I was glad to get a cool sword, but I didn't know that for $40 I was going to get this kind of experience. It's money well spent, if you ask me.
Now, Harrington says he can't wait to reunite Johnson with his sword, and he hopes to do it in a formal presentation sometime in the near future.